Okay, I'm calling this video Painting the Room. This is to give you an example of how to use different areas to figure out how much paint you would need to paint a room, or how much wallpaper you might need if you were going to redo your room. And part of this example is going to tap into the formula of an area of a rectangular prism, but we're not going to use the whole formula. Let's take another look at it. The area of a rectangular prism is 2 times the length times the width, plus 2 times the length times the height, plus 2 times the width times the height. That will give you the total area. But let's think about a bedroom. Here's what we would have. We would have a room that has a wall. And let's just say that's the back wall. Then we'd have, oops, that's a little sloppy. Then we'd have another wall over here. And we know that this side, this wall, would be the same length as this wall. And I'll connect it, and this wall right here would be the same as the back wall. So if I know that the height from the floor to the ceiling is 8 feet, that's my height, okay? I know that the height here is 8 feet, the height here, and the height here, all of this is 8 feet from the bottom to the top, from the floor to the ceiling. The length, if I said that this wall were 20 feet long, that would be my length. Okay? And if this length here, from sort of west to east, if we think about it that way, is 20 feet, then this is going to be 20 feet as well. Here and here. Now this width, I'm going to call it 10 feet. So that means this length, this width, and this width over here are going to be 10 feet each. So this is my width. Here's my length. So looking at this, I could take 2 times the length times the width, plus 2 times the length times the height, plus 2 times the width times the height will give me the total area. But that's not what they're asking me. They're asking me to find out how much paint would I need to cover this wall over here and this wall, and to paint, change the marker, paint this back wall, assuming that we're going to use the same color. I'm just trying to illustrate for you that it's going to be a different color. And I'm going to put a little green over here because that wall really does have green against the back. And then you're actually going to have, it's going to be hard to do, but you're going to have green against this wall. So green on the back wall, green on the front wall, red and red. So we will put them all the same color, but I've just shown you 2 different colors. So let's add it up. This wall, my west wall and my east wall, the formula to find the area is really like finding the area of a rectangle. We're going to take the width, or the length times the width. In this case, we're going to take the width times the height, actually, because we know that it's 10 feet wide and it's 8 feet high. Well, that's 80 square feet. But I'm going to take it times 2 because I have this wall and I have this wall. So that gives me 160 square feet. That will be enough area, or that will be the area for this wall and for this wall. Now, where I have the green, that length is 20 feet, and that height, we said, is 8 feet. So 20 times 8 is 20 times 8 is 160, times 2, because I have a front and a back wall, equals 320 square feet. I'm going to add these together. So I have 480 square feet. Now, the question becomes, if I want to paint these walls, let's just say I want to paint them all the same color. I'm going to paint all of this lovely shade of blue. I go down to Lowe's or Home Depot, and I find that 1 gallon of paint covers 200 square feet. My question would be, how many gallons of paint do I actually need in order to paint my 4 walls? Again, I'm not painting the floor, and I'm not painting the ceiling. So, I could divide the area for my 4 walls by the amount covered by 1 gallon, and that would tell me. But if you don't have a calculator, here's a very simple way to do it. Let's take this 480 square feet, and let's subtract what 1 paint would cover. This is for 1 gallon of paint. 1 gallon covers 200 square feet, right? But I already have 480 square feet I need to cover. So 1 gallon would only cover part of it, and it would still leave me with 280 square feet to cover. Well, if I were to buy another gallon, so I already have 1 gallon that I've purchased, okay? I've purchased 1 gallon. I'm going to need another gallon because I still have more wall to paint. So minus 200 square feet for a second gallon, it's another gallon, would leave me with 80 square feet left. So far, I would need to purchase 2 gallons, 1 here and 1 here. But I would still have 80 square feet left to purchase. 80 square feet left to paint. So, if the choices that you were given were 1, 2, 3, or 4 gallons of paint necessary, I know that 1 wouldn't work. I know that 2 doesn't work because I still have some wall area left. I'm going to say that I need 3 gallons of paint, because my 3rd gallon, while it allows me to paint 200 square feet, I only need to cover 80 square feet. So I will have some leftover paint, but at least I won't be short. So I would actually need 3 gallons of paint to paint this entire room. And let's just recap. We looked at the room. We knew that we had 4 walls. We're not painting the ceiling, and we're not painting the floor. We know that the width of 1 wall is 10 feet, and it's the same on the other side of the room. We know that the height of the room is 8 feet, and we know the length of 1 wall is 20 feet, and the length of the other wall is 20 feet. So we said to find the area of the 2 side walls, we did 10 times 8, which is 80, times 2 to cover both walls is 160 square feet. And then to cover the front and the back wall, we said 20 is the length times the height, which is 160, times 2, and times 2 means for the 2 walls, gives us 320 square feet. Add it together, we get 480 square feet. Now, we know that we're going to Lowe's or Home Depot to purchase some paint, and we know that 1 gallon covers 200 square feet, but we have 480 square feet to cover. So I've deducted how much 1 gallon would cover, 200 square feet. Still leaves me 280 square feet left to paint. So if I bought another gallon that would cover 200, it would still leave me with 80 square feet to cover. And if I had a 3rd gallon, it would let me paint the other 80 square feet, but it would leave me with some extra paint, which is fine, because I at least need to have 3 gallons of paint. And that's the end.